Hello, hello, hello. I am Keishan, your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible. I am disrupting HR, disrupting leadership, and disrupting you. I quit my job, wrote a book. Now I'm here to recommend and give you tips and strategies from a leadership perspective, from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective, and an individual perspective. Again, because I am your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible, as well as organizations. So let's jump right to it. So I recently, like I said, I quit my job and I wrote a book. And as I was writing this book, I was reflecting on what was going on in my life. One of the things that I realized, as I'm sure you've experienced, because anybody who's interviewed for a job has either thought that they were getting a great job and later found out that it wasn't, or from an organizational standpoint, interviewed somebody for a job thinking they were the right fit, and that was not the case. My question to you, as either or, why? Why was that not a good fit for you as the individual? And why was that not a good fit for you as the organization? Because the dots were not connecting. The synapses were not connecting. The communication was not clear. The language was foreign. You guys were not on the same page, in other words. What causes that to happen? And if you relate that to the book Good to Great, Jim Collins' book Good to Great, he talked about the right people on the bus. However, sometimes the bus driver may not clearly communicate the direction of the bus, or the passenger getting on the bus may not clearly explain what they're looking for. So if you put those together, you are subject to some type of miscommunication. How do you overcome that is the question. I have the answer for you. I have successfully, in organizations, come in with a fresh set of eyes and been able to identify what the gaps are in communication. And it's not this fancy lingo where you have to have all these graphs and this has to speak to that, where it's so technical and just so textbook that it doesn't become human. It does not translate to the human factor. Those are people. So this is what people will do. They post a job. Organizations will post a job. They write down what they're looking for, what they think they're looking for. They hire somebody. That person thinks that what the organization, the bus driver, is communicating is what's going to happen. But if what I'm thinking up here comes out differently to the hearer, then they're speaking different languages. A lot of times when people interview, they get into these interviews and the organization is talking about lingo and they're using acronyms and all this other kind of stuff that nobody understands because they're not in that organization. They're not in that culture. Think about different cultures, how they speak differently. You have subcultures within the American society. You have subcultures in other organizations and other societies around the world. And they have different dialects, they have different way of speaking, eating, so on and so forth, as it is with organizations. You have to know the language. However, it is incumbent upon the organization to communicate it, because the outsider coming in, that interviewee coming in or interviewing, may not understand. So how do you overcome that? I'm glad you asked. For those who are interviewing, it may be a different a different method because you don't know what you don't know until you get there. So, really, the onus is on that organization to be able to effectively communicate. And that's where the challenge lies. As leaders of organizations, as leaders within the HR organizational leg or arm of the organization, it is your responsibility to make sure you're getting the right people on the bus because each hire costs that organization that hires annual salary at least. That includes the advertising cost, that includes manpower, that whoever's interviewing, whoever's posting the job, whoever is doing drug testing, background check, whatever, all of that comes into play. So it's not just I'm paying for this and paying for that. You're paying for that manpower involved in that entire process. So it is your responsibility. However, for those interviewing, there are ways that you can do your best to make sure that you're asking the right questions. So, this is what I recommend. I recommend that you tune in tomorrow and the next day because I will be sharing what that looks like and how your next hire, your next job interview will be will put you in a position where you can make an informed decision and not a deceived decision or a decision where you don't have enough information but you think you do. So that is all that I have to share. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe, like, hit the notification button, and share this with somebody who's looking to make their next job uh, transition, whether it's within a new organization, whether it's out of that organization, or maybe somebody's new to a professional career. Share this with them, and it may benefit you as well. So, again, my name is Keishan. I am your human resource. I help people see the possibilities in what they think is impossible. I am disrupting HR, disrupting leadership, and I pray that this disrupted you. Until next time, take care. God bless.